So if you're subscribed to WhatGear Reviews, you will know I love my Sony tech. But do you know what else you should know? You are a legendary person. And what people don't realize, when they run out and buy a soundbar for their TV, they are sacrificing soundstage and separation and fidelity when it comes to audio. And that's what makes this product right here kind of the anti-soundbar, because it almost does the opposite of everything I just said. This has 4 separate speakers, 8 drivers, 4 of which are facing upwards towards the ceiling. You've also got tweeters, not to mention a beveled baffle edge. And I'll come back to that towards the end of the video. And Sony say this 360 spatial mapping can create up to 12 phantoms. That's right, this setup is designed to turn your living room into a phantom speaker opera house. So when it came to setting this up, literally it was just the power cable, each one, power cable for the control box, plus the HDMI to the ARC port on the back of the TV. Then I placed the other speaker way over here, as far as I could, on the right hand side. At the moment, the back left, or back right, is sitting on the Sonos sub. So I'm going to try and figure out a way to get it a bit higher up. And then I've got the other one sitting on the mystery box over there. All right, so now it's finished initializing. Let's do the sound calibration. I'm going to move out of the way for this. So I've put the HT-A9 through its paces now, and I've come to the conclusion, compared to the Sonos Arc, it's very, very close. There is some differences though. I think when it comes to the Sony, there's a bit more verticality in the sound, and the fact that you've got the separation much wider on the front 2 channels is definitely beneficial. When it comes to watching regular TV, because you've got the separation and essentially what you've got is a phantom front channel, you wouldn't expect it to be as good as it is. With the Sonos, of course, the soundbar is right in front of you, so you get the sense that the sound's coming straight from there. Surprisingly, the Sony does that really well as well. The phantom speaker side of things is also very, very good. It does sound like the room, there's a kind of bubble in the room of sound, which is really cool. With my Sonos ones at the back, they don't have any up-firing drivers, so to have upward channels behind you is another beneficial aspect of the A9. If I was offered to trade my current setup with the Sony HTA9s, I probably would do it if I was offered the sub along with it. But without the sub, it doesn't match up to the bass I'm getting from the Sonos. But I do think this setup is going to be really awesome for a lot of people, and especially because of the spatial mapping thing, the way the speakers don't have to be absolutely symmetrically placed and at very specific heights. That's going to give you a lot of flexibility if you're thinking about these speakers. Anyway, now it's time for my new favorite section, Fact All, or All of Facts. Let me know which one you like better. So here's question 1. Is the subwoofer absolutely necessary? So the speakers alone actually do produce very good bass, and I was actually shocked when it first fired up and did a little bit of a calibration and did a 360 reality audio test. I was very impressed with the bass there. When it comes to comparing it to the Sonos though, the Sony kind of reaches around 60 Hertz to 50 Hertz. With the Sonos, because I've got the subwoofer, it's going to go way, way lower than that. So I'm used to that. It's all down to what you're used to. If you're coming from a system that didn't have a separate sub, you'd be very happy with these standalone. If you're coming from a system with a dedicated sub and you're used to that sound, you might want that little bit extra, in which case I would definitely recommend the Sony subwoofer, which is an option for this. There's 2 different ones. I heard there's no point bothering with the smaller one. Go straight for the bigger one if you want to do it right. Did I experience any audio dropouts? I personally didn't experience any audio dropouts. I did look into this topic though, and it seems like you could get clashes with Wi-Fi signals and other signals in the room. So it will depend on the kind of hardware you're using in that area. Of course, you can always move things around, plug things in different areas and stuff like that. But me personally, haven't experienced any of it. And it's also important to remember, at the time of this video, the product's still pretty new. There'll be software updates to help fix these kind of bugs iron them out. Where can I hear Dolby Atmos content, and does it support DTSX? Guys, it does have DTSX. So if you've got some old Blu-ray content or anything like that with DTSX support, this will support that. So that's good news. And if you're looking for Dolby Atmos content, you can find it on Netflix, on Amazon, also Sky Q, and I believe the new Sky Glass supports Dolby Atmos content as well. But your TV must recognize the content in order to relay it to the Sony HTA9. So for example, if you've got a slightly older TV that doesn't support Atmos, it won't even pop up within the apps. Does it still sound good with just a regular ARC port and not an eARC port? So the TV behind me has a regular ARC port, and what this means is I get lossy Dolby Atmos, so it's kind of compressed a little bit. If you have an eARC port, you'll get the proper uncompressed audio. To be honest, the difference between the two is kind of hard to tell unless you're a real audiophile. So the answer to the question is the A9 still sounds awesome even with regular ARC. How big are the speakers? Let me show you how big one of the speakers is compared to a Sonos Play 1. It's a massive difference in size. Does it sound good with streaming services? So that's pretty much the only way I've used it so far, is with Netflix, Disney Plus and Prime to test it out. I haven't actually tested out any other sources yet, so I'm going to plug in the Sky Glass and maybe a console later. But so far I'm very impressed. How do they sound when it comes to speech? So when it comes to speech, this is an area where they excel. The clarity is amazing. Like I said before, even though you've got a phantom front speaker, it really does work well. And I did not struggle to hear voices in movies over all of the action and all of that kind of stuff. Clarity in the vocal range is very good. Is it available in other colors? So at the moment, we've only got this kind of light gray color. I kind of wish they did have a pure white color, and at this point in time there is no black. I guess it depends how popular these speakers are going to be. If loads of people request it and they sell tons of them, they probably will do more colors. So some of you might be wondering how you wall mount these. At the back here, you can actually take this little cover off and you can literally just put one screw in the wall, pretty solid screw, and it literally just sits flat against the wall, hooks in there. But you probably also notice this threaded hole here, so you could probably use some kind of a wall bracket with this as well. Next question is, why did Sony put more HDMIs on the back of the control box? Well, the simple answer is, if you had loads of inputs there, then all of those are going into the one eARC port, and if you had more than one device on at the same time, you get this kind of bottleneck and it would mess up all the signals, so it just wouldn't work. The way it works is the HDMIs go into your TV, the ARC port relays the audio from those devices to the HTA9. That's how it works. Can I connect a speaker to the center channel using the analog cable? Unfortunately not. From what I can tell, it will only give you that option if you plug the control box into a compatible TV. So you can't just output it to any center speaker. It has to be one of the Sony TVs. Now, the only problem with this, in my opinion, is those Sony TVs have different calibrations when it comes to speakers. So it must be hard for the system to adjust to those different parameters. So I've heard a lot of people say, actually, this system sounds better when you don't use the center channel. How does it sound when it comes to PS5? Why did you say that name? Why did you say that name? Because you know what this means now. I'm going to have to test it out, which means I'm very likely to be stuck on the PS5 for the next 5 hours. So thank you for that. But I will be putting the work in just for you guys. Let's go get the PS5. 50% is too loud. Definitely too loud. I think about 40% is about right. I have to say I'm pretty impressed when it comes to PS5. very immersive because it's got that real spatial feeling. And then as well, you've got this immersive enhancement button in the middle. So if you've got any content that's not Dolby Atmos, you can actually recreate Dolby Atmos by pushing this button. So the beveled baffle edge, you're probably wondering what the hell that is. Well, I went into central London to meet a Sony sound engineer who explained everything. So check out this video, that's on screen right now. Appreciate you guys. If you just subscribed, you're now one of the finest subscribers known to man. See you in the next one. Don't be late.